I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. Devastating though these machines may be, they are the least powerful of their kind. Stronger and more savage are the Power Zoids. Giant machines whose very passing can topple mountains. Even now, a Power Zoid approaches.
With other giants rise from lion grounds. Blue guardians down the heart. Lights and fury in the sky. revolution, E-shield technology revolution. Twin beam cannons blast a nervous Zoidstar. Double cannon special shield Liger shard. Enhanced speed sets him well above the rest. Hated empire foes so should send their best. Go double cannon special shield Liger. So destroys another saber tiger. Twin beam cannon firepower bring rule. Hell at Republic, victory ring true. Black steel armor shield Liger special fights. Gray steel legs, silver claws and fangs rage spikes. Iron circuits and inner workings power. Face great saber, Zoid and Zoid war hour. Whoa! Blade saber Zoid, the new saber tiger, built to crush blue and gray Zoid shield Liger. A black armor and blood red steel composed. His flaw shield Liger special will expose. Go double cannon special shield Liger. So destroys another saber tiger. Twin beam cannon firepower bring rule. Hell and Republic, victory ring true. Controls, commands Liger Zoid. Shield Liger special makes our foes destroy. Fire twin beam cannons and missile pods. Energy shield sets you above the gods. Go double cannon special shield Liger. So destroys another saber tiger. Twin beam cannon firepower bring rule. Hell in Republic, victory ring true. Double cannon special shield Liger. So destroys another saber tiger. Twin beam cannon firepower bring rule. Hell in Republic, victory ring true. Ring true. Ring true.
The Blue Zoids have only one hope now. Their leader, mighty Zoidzilla, must join the fray. For only through Zoidzilla's matchless strength can the Blue Zoids hope to survive. It is the never-ending battle between Red and Blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight.
The Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.